Yo, what's up, guys? It's Matt. The Department of Transportation, otherwise known as the DAT, if you're new to the industry, they've basically finalized some new updates to the civil penalties for breaking their regulation. As of, by the way, today, December 30th, these fines basically can screw both brokers and carriers, but if you stay compliant though, honestly, you can avoid all of it. Literally nothing to panic about unless you just enjoy donating your profits to the DAT. Mainly, honestly, inflation this time around that's affecting these changes. Regardless though, it's just important to know how these changes could affect you as a broker or carrier. Let's go to our chart here. Each year, the DOT, they adjust penalties under the Federal Civil Penalties Inflation Adjustment Act. Holy crap, say that 5 times fast, to make sure basically that fines remain, just a strong deterrent despite inflation. This year's adjustment factor was 2.6%, tied basically to the consumer price index. It doesn't sound like that much. For penalties already in thousands, it can add up pretty quick if you're messing around. Pretty much every DOT agency, including the FMCSA, FAA, and NHTSA, is affected as of today with these new fine increases. Here's what brokers and truckers need to know. Starting with the FMCSA, if a driver hired by a carrier, like you can just be the driver, violates the out of service order, carries a $2,364 fine, up from $2,304 last year, while employers allowing it face a $23,647 penalty, up from $23,048 last year. So for small operators, that can kind of be devastating. So don't break the law. How about that? Record keeping violations, which includes failing to maintain accurate driver logs, like vehicle maintenance records, for example, or compliance paperwork screw ups, now cost $1,584 per day, up from $1,544. So that also maxes out now at $15,846, up from $15,445. Honestly, you have nothing to worry about if you just do what you're supposed to do. Hazardous material violations are also getting a hike, which includes improper labeling and also, for example, like using non-compliant containers or just like general failure to follow hazmat transport rules. Those are up $102,348, up from $99,756. And even training violations, such as insufficient or missing safety training for drivers and employees, now start at $617, which is up from $601 last year. So if you're a broker, penalties for general violations like poor carrier vetting, for example, or incomplete documentation, now hit $13,676, up from $13,300. So to avoid this, just make sure basically that your carriers that you work with have an active DOT authority. They have valid insurance that goes up to $750,000, $100,000 cargo coverage, and then that their safety rating is either satisfactory or unrated. So just everything basically that you're supposed to do. So for owner operators out there, hazardous materials training violations can climb up to $238,809 if they result in injury or damage. Dude, that's insane, man. And to make it worse, by the way, insurance won't cover these. Obviously, insurance won't cover these fines since they're tied to regulatory compliance, not accident. The FAA and the NHTSA have their own steep increases, but the FMCSA penalties are the most relevant to small operators and brokers. So that's the stuff we need to focus on. So for carriers, just review your compliance processes and you'll be fine. And then for brokers, just make sure that your carrier vetting and record keeping is solid. All right. It's nothing crazy. All right. You can avoid all this very easily. And owner operators, just keep your training current, honestly, and then just keep your logs accurate, as we all should be doing anyway. And then also your truck should just be in decent shape and you'll be fine. Training, also that might feel a little bit expensive, but obviously a little cheaper than paying $238,000. That's all I got. I'll see you tomorrow.